Hello, everybody, to the community call at Nhost for November 2021. I will put this in full screen so we can enjoy each slide just by itself. Let's get going. So a little bit what we're going to talk about today. We have a few more team members to Nhost. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've done with Nhost v2 currently. I'm going to do like a small demo on storage, so you can take get a glimpse on that. Graphql Galaxy coming up, and open Q&A as usual. And yeah, so here's like a super up-to-date screen of everybody working at Nhost currently, and new for this month is Nestor and Tobias. So both of them living in Germany, Berlin. Tobias is from Berlin, Nestor is from Venezuela. Both are doing infrastructure and backend at Nhost. So welcome to both of them. And we're becoming a solid team now, I think. So really happy with the team here. Just a quick slide on the like update on the private beta. So we have 33 users onboarded right now, and we're onboarding 5 to 10 new people every Wednesday of every week. And the reason we do this is like we want to we want to iterate on the feedback that we get, and not flood the whole system with users until we're sure things are in a good place, let's say. Another thing that I want to mention is the CLI workshop. So with version 2, we have a new CLI, and Mrinal, who's been developing the CLI, is going to do a workshop. It's going to be next Friday, I think, Friday afternoon, well, depending on your time zone. And so if you want to join that one, reach out to Mrinal directly on Discord. So that's, and we're going to record that too. We'll see if hopefully we'll put it up on YouTube as well. So that's going to be like a follow along with the CLI to get to know it. All right. Then we have Graphql Galaxy, a online conference for GraphQL between December 9th and December 10th. We are a gold sponsor at this event, and there's a lot of speakers there, and I will do like a lightning talk, very quick talk, talking a little bit about Nhost. And there's also going to be a workshop on how to build a GraphQL app with React using Nhost as well. So we'll post this. We'll post this in the description and in Discord, the link to how to register. All right. Ooh, I think I missed one slide. So before the open Q&A, I'll just do a quick demo on storage. And your screen sharing is possible. Can you still see my screen? Resume. Wait,
we see the slides.
Yeah. So maybe this is better. So with the new storage, like there's a lot of stuff that has been updated, and I will just quickly like talk you through it. So we have this new storage schema, and we have 2 tables here. So files and buckets. And everything under the storage schema, we like Nhost control. So we create the tables and we manage the tables and all that. What you as developers can do is to manage permissions and relationships for these 2 tables. It's exactly the same as under the auth schema. So these tables and columns should not be modified. The only thing that you are should do is to manage permissions and relationships. And I'm just gonna, let's see, I think I have it here. So this is like a small example app that I built, and it's like a CRM system where you can list or create customers, and you can make comments for a customer. So they show up to the left, and also you can upload a file. And I just want to show you how it works. So I upload a file and add it, and it shows up here, and I can click it and view it. And if you look at the URL, it's under localhost, some port files. So this is a pre-signed URL that you can then share with anybody for, I think it's like 30 seconds. It's before it expires. And the expiration time you can modify inside here. I'm going to come to that in a second. So this is just how it works. And if we go to the files table here, we can see that. Well, so let me put it this way. So every time a file is uploaded, we insert metadata into the files table here, and the file is stored in S3. So there's so all file upload and download goes through this storage server. The reason why we do this is because we want the metadata inside the database and inside GraphQL, so that you can use GraphQL to get the metadata and also use Hasura to manage permissions for your files. So you can see here I put every file in a bucket that I call customer comments. And if we'll take a look at how, who is allowed, or what's the permission to insert a file here, you can see that these 4 columns should always be allowed to insert. So ID, bucket ID, name, and meme type. Everything else will be automatically populated, size and e tag and stuff. And if we take a look at the insert permission, I just have a simple the bucket ID has to be this custom, has to be customer comments. For selection, and this is where who is allowed to access the files. So here I have well, this is a pretty complex permission, but as you can see, now I'm using relationships from this files table to my custom table in the public schema, where I'm going to customer comments files, customer company user ID, and then I see if my own user ID is inside the company users. So basically what I'm saying here is, if the file is uploaded to a customer that I as a user is in the same company as, I'm allowed to select and view the file. So we can use the same Hasura permissions to access files. And then if we just look at some code on how to do this, I have a input element where I select a file and I add the file to a React state. So I set the file.
We're not seeing your editor.
No?
No, at least I only see the Hasura console.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me fix it. Better?
Yes.
So we have a file input, HTML file input, and when we select the file, we add the files to set file. Ooh, let me. Yeah. And then when we submit the form, we can take a look at what happens. So handle submit. If there is a file, we call Nhost storage upload with the file and the bucket ID, and we wait for that to finish. And what we get back is file metadata. And then what I do is I insert a regular GraphQL mutation, like a customer comment with the text and the customer ID and the file ID. So what I do is I upload the file, I get the file ID back, and then I use the file ID to insert the file ID where I need it in my other table. So this is customer. So this is where I insert into the customer comment. So if we take a look at public customer comments, we can see here that it has ID created at, updated at, user ID, the user who create the comment, the customer that the comment is associated with, the text of the comment, and then the file ID that I was talking about. And then there is a relationship between the file ID and files ID. So, so this table over here. And then when I, let's see, I think it's over here. And then when I'm listing the comment, I can see here, so if there's a file, and if I like, then I have an on-click event on the file. And when I click on the file, I want to generate a pre-signed URL. And basically I open the pre-signed URL in a new tab. So that was when I clicked on a file. It generated the pre-signed URL and then opened the tab, basically. All right, so that was like a super quick demo of storage. I think I will stop there. And then I will basically just leave it for Q&A. And I know we're not a lot of people here today, but maybe someone has some question that they wanna share.
Johan, you mentioned the expire time can be changed. Can you show that for the file?
Yes. So I'll share my desktop again. So that's a good question. So under buckets, there's some stuff that you can like some settings that you can do. So download expiration. Let me see. So first of all, I need to change this. So here are some settings that you can do. So download expiration is the number of seconds that the pre-signed URL is available, right? So this is where you can like create multiple buckets and have different settings. So this is the thing where you edit it basically, and then you can like you can allow or disallow pre-signed URLs, cache control, and then like maximum file up file size. I think that's most important. And then if you like want to limit, let's say you only want to allow people to upload, say, images, then you can like use this meme type column and permissions to do that. So that you can say something like, well, if the bucket ID is this, then meme type must be like image / for example.
Does it accept an array of meme types, or let's say I want to allow WordPress, Word and PDF?
Yes. So we can take a look. I think what you can do is, I think you can use in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about this, but when we tested it, we or maybe even a regex. Yeah, so you can use a regex and then have whatever regex you want that you want to match. So maybe you want to have like application / what is it? Application / PDF, and maybe some images / PNG, for example.
And so so you set a time of 30 seconds for the pre-signed URL. So does it mean that whenever when you get a pre-signed URL, if you try to see this file after 30 seconds, you won't be able to?
Yeah, so if you use the same link, the link will only be available for 30 seconds. You can generate new links anytime. So every time, like I click here, like I get a new link. So I get a new link, like I generate a new link. And every link is, because I have the setting of 30 seconds, the link is only available for 30 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
And also you can, so you can also like add the public role here, right? So the public role is if a user is not signed in. So you can say public, and then you can create your permissions, and then you don't need to generate a pre-signed URL. You can just show the URL show the URL right away.
And how would you get this URL? Because now you're not getting the pre-signed URL.
Yes. So then you do storage get URL.
Oh, okay. Okay, and so this is based on the permissions. Either you get a pre-sign, or if it's a public, you go for a, okay, sounds good.
Yes. So pre-signed URLs are used if you like want to make sure your permissions are correct for your assets and for your files. And if it's like a public website where you just want to show images, for example, you can just use get URL right away.
Okay. So if I have a role, so let's say that I have two roles, all right, and then I can allow users only from those two roles to access the file, then I will simply need to make sure that the permissions are correct and then get the URL. I don't need to get the pre-signed URL.
Sorry, I think my internet got stuck there.
Yeah, so if let's say I have two roles that can access these files, and I can say, so if I set the permissions correctly for those two roles, then I don't need the pre-signed URL. I just need to get the URL for, and then the permission will check whether or not the user has this role and can see the file.
I think that, yes, I think that's valid. I'm not sure we have support to change the role.
But if in the permissions I have the role and I say, okay, this role can access this file. So then if I get the URL, Azure will check the role and.
Yes, but the thing is, when we're making this request to get the pre-signed URL, we're always using the default role of the user. So what we probably have to modify here is that maybe you want to make that request with a different role. That's what you're saying, and that role has to be, valid. That role has to be inside allowed roles in your JWT token, basically. So
for me, it was more like the way you created the permission for the public. I was wondering if there I can set, so let's say that I have two more roles, and on those roles I set the permissions to, you can access them as long as you are in this role. So and then I would instead of using the pre-signed URL, I would simply use the get URL. Would that work too?
I mean, I would have to test. It's I'm a little bit unsure.
I'll
just
simply like play with it and see if I can access.
Yeah.
That should work. I think pre-signed URL is only pre-signed URL that is defaulting to the user's default role. So if you just use get URL, I think you can specify other roles.
Okay.
The one issue with that is it's just a security issue. If you don't trust your users, they could then share that URL with other people. Whereas with the pre-signed, if they share the URL, it's not going to work after 30 seconds.
If you are not connected, you still have access to the file, because the get URL, does it need to check for the role, or it's like an open URL?
It uses the public role.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
Because the URL you get from using get URL is just the plain URL without any headers, and then you're like hitting the the file, and then you don't have any headers attached or anything. Yeah.
Sounds, yeah, perfect.
So that's like accessing GraphQL without being signed in. So you're just accessing a file without being signed in.
Yeah, yeah, sounds, yeah.
We can maybe even test this. So we have to get URL. And then it's, I think URL. Maybe not. Maybe it's just URL because it's just so let's see what happens here. Yeah. So now it's just like generating the direct. And then if we want to like, okay, we'll check the permission, toggle everything, public role, save. And now I can access this because now I like enabled the public role.
Perfect.
I'll revert this. All right, yeah, good questions.
I would have some questions for the auth login registration process. Right now, I kind of feel like we are a little bit short on like error handling and knowing what kind of errors the user is getting, because let's say that's one of the cases I have is, so the user can register and is automatically signed in, but if he tries to register again with the same email, he gets an error. But on our side, we only get like, yeah, it's either it goes through or you get an error, but you actually don't know what kind of error you're getting. You get on the message, but if you want to handle based on the code that you get, it would be a different matter, because I can always say, yeah, so you already registered with this email, maybe you want to sign in instead, or or knowing what kind of error we are getting, it's more helpful for us to handle the different use cases. Is it something that we are going to see light?
So when it comes to error messaging for signing, like if you feel there are some improvements we can do, I think the best way is creating a issue on GitHub and like
I actually created one.
Okay, perfect then. But I mean, I think like as far as I know that like if you try to register and the account is already there, I think it's give you like a 409 conflict.
So when you check the network tab, you do get a 409, but on the message, you get on the error, you just get the message, and on the message it says, yeah, you get this error, but it's kind of hard to extract the number from the message, because if the message changes, then you won't be getting the number on the
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. We can't have a better error interface, but tell you, if you created the issue, we will try to follow up soon. Feel free to open a BR also if you have the time.
I would have to check the code, but yeah.
But yes, we should probably improve the interface.
I mean, I'm a little bit unsure. I think we already like just returned the Axios error.
No, it's not the Axios error. No, I checked the interface, and you actually get the message, the stack, and another one, but you don't get the code. And so that's the thing. It's because when you get the message, the code is in the message, but it's just a string. So you would have to extract the code from the string, which is like not ideal.
Yeah.
where? Okay, so it's you open the issue. I can see it now.
Yeah.
The browser of repo. Improve sign up error interface. I assume it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's yeah. I think our intention here is it makes more sense like just to return the Axios error object, right? So then you can do whatever you want with that, and because maybe there's a network issue, maybe it's a response issue. Yeah.
Yeah, if you return an Axios, then yeah, everything comes in it and you can handle how you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I have to say, so far, I'm really liking V2. There are like some stuff that need polishing, but the transition was like kind of smooth. And yeah, it's lovely how it's looking.
That's nice. That's nice. Encouraging words.
Can I ask you, Helio? What did you which features did you migrate, or are you using it? Are you using storage permissions?
Yeah. So the one that I like is the storage, because on the previous storage was a little bit hard to handle, and now it's really like simple to work with. And now just with the demo, it's even easier, because knowing what's a persistent URL via an URL, it's even easier. And the whole flow for like so you register a user, email validation, and everything. It's really smooth. So I really like how easy it is to work with, because it's really easy. I mean, you just make an API call and you get everything done for you. And for me, it's like I'm building an app, and I'm mostly a front end, but I end up doing like full stack. But I kind of feel like a fraud, because I'm really not doing full stack. You guys are doing the full stack for me, and then just making calls to the API, which makes everything really easy.
That's nice. I just see in the chat we're talking about files. If you can upload MP3 files, as you say, like yes, we can upload any file. Well, what TJ, you wrote something about streaming and stuff. Like what's?
Yeah, I've just found in the past sometimes when people ask, what they're really asking is like, is it a full-blown video service where you upload a single file and it chops them up into the HLS so you can stream them? But it looks like Venkat understood the question, so I just wanted to make sure. So
what is HLS?
I was adding. That's where it takes a video file and it chops it into really small files so that it can start to stream back to your computer. Because the way HTTP works, it has to download the whole file before it can use it. And so what they would do is the large video file, they would chop them up into really small, so you can download that small video, start playing it while it's downloading the rest. It's like buffering, basically, is what it is.
I think Tim, AWS has a solution for it. Did they not have a audio converter sort of a thing? I think I remember using it once to convert audio files to HLS for streaming.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways to do it, but I don't think the buckets that you're using at AWS do them automatically. It was just my.
No, they don't do it. I mean, they don't do it automatically.
What we do have support for is
yeah, go ahead.
What we do have support for is I think it's like the content range header, so you can I mean you can like if you have an MP3 or movie file and show it in HTML, like in a like native HTML object or whatever, then you can like scroll through it very quickly. You don't need to download the entire thing, so you can like jump through different portions of it. Yeah, not sure if it's related.
That
And then-
might be like a very small fix, but there's a very significant difference in bandwidth if you're using content headers versus if you're using HLS.
Yes, is there a Stripe integration? So now I'm reading the question from the chat. Is there a Stripe integration as well? I remember I've seen a screenshot on Twitter. So yes, we are we have a pretty good proof of concept with Stripe to query data through the GraphQL API and to use or to add Stripe as a remote schema to query data. We haven't been working on it for a while because there's so many other things, but it's in the pipeline. And the idea from our side is that we want to take advantage of GraphQL as much as possible to make these kind of integrations with Stripe and various other platforms, just to make it very easy for people to not only just think about GraphQL as where I get my data, not only from your own database, but maybe from other data sources as well, such as Stripe. And we will use this internally as well. So we will test it on Nhost first and make sure it works, and then we'll open source it to make it available for everybody. And we will primarily use it to, for example, we'll show all invoices, for example, in our UI. So we'll make a GraphQL request to our own GraphQL API and through Stripe to get invoices.
So are we talking about something that would be eventually available on Nhost as a feature or something like this that you can enable and have automatic billing? But automatic Stripe access?
Initially, it's going to be a feature, but it's going to be to read data. So
okay.
To read maybe your customers or your invoices or these kind of things.
Okay.
And that's going to be the first step, and then we will kind of go from there to make a full-blown Stripe integration with everything there. That would be really nice. Not sure about the effort though.
Yeah, because we are talking about whenever you create a user, if you are using Stripe, you would need to create a user on Stripe and then link them together.
Yes,
this
that's
what you're talking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So one idea would be that you say, maybe you just tell Nhost that this table is my customer's table, and then we will maybe what would be cool would be if we could create a customer ID, a Stripe customer ID column, and then make sure that the data is synced between those. So every time you insert a customer, we can use event triggers to create that customer in Stripe, etc. But initially, it's going to be reading data, and the integration, event triggers and stuff, you can all do that manually through Hasura and custom or serverless functions and that stuff. So that's going to be the initial step.
Any news about social login? Are they working? Not yet.
They should tell you. They should be working already.
Do I need to make any updates to the code or?
Not really. You're mentioning specifically the LinkedIn issue, correct?
Yeah. Well, it was on Google too, where the URL was kind of duplicated.
Yeah, that should be fixed.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, if that doesn't work for you, ping me, DM me, and we can take a look.
Yeah, will do.
Some good questions. Anything else we can share at this moment of time? No. Yes.
I'm rewriting the docs, so maybe that will be helpful. And I will actually ask you guys for feedback, especially for the Kickstart guide, given that you already know the platform. Maybe you have good suggestions for what we should present at first. It's actually hard to write good documentation. It takes time, and you have to think holistically about the entire thing.
Are there like any big features coming to Nhost v2 soon? Are you guys like have something on the pipeline that you could share that could get us all excited? And
yeah, I should. We have a few things that we're working on. I think we can, like the Stripe one is an obvious one. I think logs for functions is also one. And this one is very likely going to be available when we open for public. So you will be able to see your functions logs. So it's easier for you to see if you're doing the right thing. And yeah, those are the two big ones that we're working alongside the migration to the new infrastructure. So we have two other features, but we haven't started them. So, I don't know if we should mention them now.
Yeah, no, but definitely logs, as you say, I think that's going to be a big one. And then, I mean, generally what we're working on is just the stability and documentation, example apps, these kind of things. So we want to make it easy for new users to jump into Nhost and get started quickly. Yeah.
I have one question. Have you guys heard about the release of Remix?
I've heard about it. Yes, I've not read about it too exhaustively. No.
Okay. Is it something that we could consider like having a? I don't know what it would imply, like kind of effort for this platform, but is it something that could be worked on to have like an adapter for the same way we did for Next, to have something for Remix?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have as many example apps for various frameworks as possible. But the ones we will focus on initially is like React, Next.js, Nhost, Vue, probably SvelteKit, getting a lot of traction now. Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of platforms we will initially focus on. And I wouldn't say Remix is in our near-term plan, I would say. But if Remix, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Remix is React, right?
It is React.
Yeah, and if Remix support any other GraphQL client, you will be able to use it with Nhost. And our SDK is like plain JavaScript, so that's going to work there as well, to sign in users and storage and everything.
My only concern is more about like getting access to the user on the server side. Does Nhost on the V2 support it? How are we?
Yes,
how are we on this?
Yeah, this is, I mean, we have every ingredients. It's just that we need to make a good example out of it. There is nothing we need to change on our side of things. It's just that we need to provide like a good example of how to do it. Okay,
because on my side, I really need this for various reasons, but this is something that I'm really looking for. Is it something like now out of the box on the V2, I can have access to the
yes, I will send you a link with a similar tool solving this, and maybe you can take some inspiration from that one until we have like an official example out.
Okay, yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
And Brent, will you be sharing the example project that was demoing the new story? Yes. So I'm doing that now as part of both having like a good example that people can look at with React and and Nhost, and also just to test obviously we're building Nhost with Nhost, but it's good to have other projects and examples where we test everything as well. So it will be under the example folder soon in the Nhost/Nhost repository. All right. Helio, any more questions?
Not on my side.
All right. Anything from anyone else on the call? Otherwise, I thank you all for listening and looking at the presentation here, and really nice to see. I mean, all the stuff that you're working on, good questions today, and we have some cool stuff as coming up, as Nuno told you about, and yeah, we'll keep iterating and improving.
Looking forward for it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great one. Ciao.
Thanks, guys. Bye.